Take a nice deep breath. Feels good. Greetings, dear, precious spirit soul that you are. Never give in to fear. Ever. But the problem with the word never, it's got an N, ever. And never, then the N cancels out and you're actually even saying always give in to fear. You have to, see, that language is very tricky because the not, when you say don't worry, then the person worries. When you say don't be afraid, so when I, don't be afraid, then it's actually do, because it's not taking that N-O-T not, and, no. And that's the tricky part of it, because the language is so constructed that it's going to keep bringing you back to the finite desired manifestation of what we might call those mental thought form entities that we are feeding through the focus of our attention, the meaning that we give to the words and the sounds, and then to be always affected by what's going on in the effect or the creation, making the creation then the creator of our emotions and feelings and reality. So it becomes the looping of the infinity in the finite all the time repetitively. So you got to get this. It's over now. And what happens is, if you're still operating in the same mindset that you did even a moment ago, you are affirming lack, limitation, death, but it's fear. It's all fear-based because it's scarcity-based, because the AI of the mind, you might say, is not real. It can only exist through your consciousness because you're the divine being, not the mind. And yes, people say, well, tune in to divine mind. Well, yeah, you can call it divine mind, but we're divine. We don't need apps for us, add-ons to give us new abilities, and we're going to give you you have. Isn't there no comparison between you and the mind and such? So when we, here's the value of repetition, because repetition is a positive and a negative. Everything in this reality, every positive has a negative, every negative has a positive. But what we call the positive, when you look at the absolute truth, like love is an absolute. It doesn't have an opposite of hate or fear, because you're then elevating hate and fear as necessary for love. And love is necessary for hate and fear. So you're elevating them to be the same, and they're not. And when you know these distinctions then, and you listen to even in the language that is we are giving meaning to and believing, and we've been taught all of this in a repetitive way, that is the negative of the repetitiveness, because we become creatures of habit and predictable instead of spontaneous in the moment, because we're in the moment as a divine, and there is no programming. Then there are no layers of unconsciousness. There is nothing to be waiting for, because you already have it all. So now what are you going to do with all that you are? They go, wow, well. Then because you start thinking, you say, no. That's when you want to be in touch with yourself in the divine and in nature as much as you possibly can, to then listen deeply and tuning in and listening to nature in the divine way and tuning into yourself, the greatest investment. And as you do that repetitively, is every time you catch yourself listening to, believing, and acting from the mind, you go, stop. You take a look. Where'd that come from? Where did I get that? Where's that going to lead if I act on that? And then there's the fear of the letting go of the fear, because it isn't death, it's the fear of death. But you can't die. So everybody's in fear all the time of when they're going to lose it all. All the time, because you're attached to it. No, you can't. It's a manifestation. So you have to you got it now. It's what we called the old, or that control structure is gone. It does not exist, except in your mind. And so that's when you kind of keep pulling yourself back to the absolute truth that always is. And now, it's you've won. It happened. It is. And out there is not it. There's nothing to worry about. No thing to worry about ever again. All is well. Your divine beloved is your protector, maintainer. All relationships, complete self-satisfaction can be yours in the moment you reconnect and know and are with the divine within you, and then everywhere and with everyone who's a divine being. And there may appear a lot of people out there that maybe, I don't know, maybe there's another species. Maybe that's why everything is so bonkers. But they just look like us. I don't know. But you know what? They're not you. So keep pulling yourself back repetitively to that which you choose. And the fear is an implant of that so-called reptilian brain. You didn't evolve. I mean, you're not the body. You're already completely evolved in every single aspect. You don't need any apps or additions, only subtraction to let go of what you're not. Breathe it in. See, this is the work. The greatest investment is in you.